Finn Butcher, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nickname's The Butcher, that's an obvious one. Another nickname's Fun. Is that a nickname that Australians gave you based on your accent, or?
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah. Not many people, no one really calls me that, but yeah, I think, that's probably from the Aussies.
I thought it's got to be an accent-based one, or you are just like a loose guy and you love to have fun.
Oh, I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like what we do is pretty fun, so I like to think that that's what I'm about, but yeah, I don't know, that one was definitely an accent thing.
Hey, so we're recording this in mid-October 2024. How long has it been since you won this bad boy, the gold medal at the Paris Olympics? Has it been 2 months?
5th of August.
Right, so
I
just
believe.
like 10 weeks.
Yeah.
10 weeks ago. How does it feel now? You carried it in here today for like a show and tell. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the medal, does it? Yeah, what do you feel?
It's still pretty surreal, but epic. And yeah, I've got a heck of a lot of good memories from the whole games, and then also obviously getting that thing was pretty special. So, but yeah, it's been busy and yeah, pretty tiring. I had a good crash last week. I think all the last couple months of running on adrenaline it just all caught up to me. And when I finally got back to New Zealand and didn't have anything else on, just parked up in bed for a week, just buggered. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty special, and sharing it with people is the coolest part. And like when little kids, I can show the kids or anyone who's been part of it or stoked on it. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something you have for life, not just the actual medal, but just the title of Olympic gold medalist. It's something that can never be taken away from you, which is really special.
Yeah, it's actually crazy even to like hear someone say that still. Like like I believe it. I know it happened. I've got this thing to prove it, but yeah, like just thinking about all the years and all the dreams as a kid just actually coming true. It's just crazy.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack and drill down on and talk about, including the strange thing for me is, so you're 29 years old and you've gone from being very well known in a niche circle of kayaking to being like proper famous, like household name famous. Has that adjustment been? How have you coped with that?
Yeah.
Is it weird?
It's been real weird. Yeah, real weird, but quite cool at the same time. Like, even the last few days, like I've only been back in the country a week and a half, but just been back in Auckland for a couple days, and even down at the Mount with my girlfriend, like almost every day there's someone who recognises me in the shop or and wants a photo or just to say hello and congrats or something. And like last night I was at the Woolworths down in town, and yeah, someone was like, oh my God, like fizzing. And it's just super strange for me to think about like 6 months ago that like I'd be in that same Woolworths and no one would even know who you are.
No.
Like, my girlfriend was like, Courtney was like, oh yeah, you've got to start dressing a bit nicer. Like, you can't be all scruffy walking around because people know who you are.
What were you wearing?
Oh, nothing like. Bad, just like
just scruffy.
Clothes are a bit faded or whatever, and like I splashed out on a new pair of shoes because my pretty much the only pair of sneakers I had were just like a standard pair of like Reeboks or whatever, and I wore them to all the parties in Paris and they just got absolutely destroyed. And I've been wearing them like since then up until a couple of days ago when I got a new pair, and like when I came back out straight after the games, I wore them on breakfast TV. I was like, oh, surely it'll just be like a waist up sort of thing. And then they did a wide panning shot, and I've just got these scruffy ass destroyed shoes on. So she was like, you need to tidy yourself up.
We're going to have to look out for that footage and turn this into a reel or something. What brand are they?
Oh, just like white Reeboks.
Right.
They weren't really white anymore, but they had a few rips in them and stuff.
They got some good stories to tell.
Yeah, they do for sure.
Is that what you were wearing those shoes when you met Stephen Adams?
Yes. I think so. Yeah. They would have been hard to see from how tall he is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that? Yeah, so you went to an All Blacks game, and
Yeah.
I suppose like the Olympic gold medal opens a lot of doors and
Yeah, for
provides
sure.
a lot of opportunities like that. So you were just rubbing shoulders with the All Blacks and Stephen Adams.
Yeah,
Jason Momoa, did you meet him?
Yeah. Joseph Parker was there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Conversations with those guys, or?
Yeah, brief ones. Yeah. Pretty cool, man. Like, they're just cool guys and like just normal people and love a yarn and loves watching the footy. So it was pretty crazy. And then like at halftime, they were like, "Oh, do you want to go down to the sheds?" Like, after the game, I was like, "What? You serious?" Yeah, of course. Stuff like that. It's just it was mind blowing. And it's actually funny. Like me and my coach, it's probably I don't know, a confusing story, but I'm quite into mountain biking. And like obviously stay away from it most of the time because I don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of the YouTube videos or whatever. And there's a guy, Eddie Masters, a Kiwi guy, and he makes videos. And he's got this thing at the start of his videos where he like hijacked the mic on a live news cross. And he was like, and basically he's like, "This is gonna be crazy." And like me and my coach were sending it. We're like watching it and saying it to each other like all through the games. And I said it like to him right before the final of the kayak cross, and it's like, yeah. And then like at the like a few times before, I was like, "I told you it was gonna be crazy." and like at the All Blacks game, we like look at each other and we're like, "What the fuck?" Like it's crazy.
It is crazy, eh? It's so cool, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right, let's start with unpacking the Olympics, and then we'll go back to the early days and the 29 years that took you to get here.
Yeah.
So so what were the expectations going into the Olympics? You shouldn't have won, right?
Like I knew that I could win, for sure. So in the kayak cross, anyway, I'd been second at the World Champs in 2021, and also like had a few World Cup medals. So that it's all the same people that erase the games. And I was ranked maybe 9th, I think, but had some good results. And the first World Cup of the year, I was 3rd, and like definitely could have been in a position to win that. Just kayak cross is fucking crazy, so you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we knew that I'll be in for a shout for a medal, and there's probably some favourites above me, but we knew that if things went my way and that I could be there for it, and the slalom as well. Like first World Cup I was second this year, and so we knew that the same sort of thing. Like if I can put down my performance, then yeah, definitely I could be standing on the box. But it's all just words until it actually happens. So
so best case scenario is obviously what happened.
Yeah.
For you, what would have been like your entry level scenario? Like what would you have been happy to make the finals and not medal? Would that have still been a success?
I mean, it's tricky to say because if you make the final and don't medal, that means you're 4th, and there's only 4 in the final, so it's like
that is cruel.
If you don't get a medal, it's pretty savage. And so, I mean, like I think the top 8, so the semi-finals at sort of any race, is kind of where all the real favourites start coming together. And so, if you can be consistently in that top 8, then anything can happen from there. Like then the race is just it's on. So I think I would have been disappointed if I wasn't in the semi-final. But then to be able to, I think the way that the draw worked out too, then there was like some kind of lower seeds that were coming up through the rounds for whatever reason. Like the higher seeds made mistakes in the earlier rounds. So then actually like going from the semi-final to final was probably like a little easier than it would be at like a World Cup, say. Just the nature of the Olympics. So, I mean, it's good not to have to think about if it would have been a failure. I mean, I enjoyed the whole thing, and I think that was the main thing that we wanted to do. I actually listened to a podcast with Lisa Carrington the other day, and she was saying like real similar things to how we wanted to approach the games, and she's an absolute weapon. But yeah, like sitting on the start line, I was like, yeah, I've like loved this whole experience and the whole process, and I think that was the success. And then, the outcome would be what it was, and it was pretty good. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you did, and you looked so relaxed at the start of the final. And the commentators, there's a line they say, you can never count this man out.
Yeah.
Which to me says, you weren't the red hot favourite. And there was a guy, Joe Clark, the 3-time world champ. So he got the silver medal.
Yep.
So that he would have been disappointed.
Yeah, I think he was pretty disappointed. Like, yeah, as you say, like he's probably the one to beat. He's probably what worked for me at the games would have been his like bread and butter, or not bread and butter, but that's like his strength is the start. He's super powerful, and getting off the start first is like that's his go-to, and that's what I did really well. And in the final, we didn't get off the start well, and he ended up just bumping with the German for half a second, and then I was away laughing, and not that I was laughing, but
I mean, there's no one in front of you, so you're in the lead, and you're not fighting with the. I'm probably going to say some dumb stuff because I know absolutely nothing about your sport, but it's an incredible race to watch. Like, legitimately, like if I was there with you, if I was the fifth kayak, I reckon I'd still be at the top of the start line, two chicken shit to go down. That start looks terrifying. That drop. Is it for someone that's never done it before? Is it just impossibly difficult to imagine how scary it is?
Yeah, probably.
Would it snap me in half?
Nah, you'd be all right. You'd be all right. That one anyway, you'd be all right. The one in Paris, it's quite high, but because the ramp is quite long, it actually slides you, and like basically if you did nothing, you'd like skim out. You'd land kind of flat and you'd go, but then you'd probably fall out after that. But it's pretty scary because when you're sitting up there, you're horizontal, right, and you can't see the water. So all you can see is just like the crowd in front of you, and then you just feel like you're floating on top of a bridge. But then once it drops, it's actually all good because you can see the ramp and then see where you're going to go. But the one we've got in Auckland's terrifying because there's no...
the one out in South Auckland?
In Monaco, yeah. So the ramp we have, because like the one at the games has like a gate in front of you. So it kind of feels like you're a little bit safe, like you've got something in front of you to stop you sliding off. One in Auckland, in Monaco, there's nothing in front of you, so you're just like floating, and you can't see anything below you, and you're just looking out to like horizon. You're 5 meters in the air or something. But it's pretty sick. It's such a good feeling when you slide off it. It's just instant speed, so it's cool.
Yeah, it's incredible. And how long does it go for? Like a minute and a half?
Yeah, I think the time trials were around about 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's over so quickly.
Roughly the same.
But there's so much that goes on in there. And another thing I found intriguing, like watching the build up to the start, is as you mentioned before, 4 people in the final. Just when the camera focuses on everyone, like the German guy next to you, who, by the way, I think is the happiest bronze medalist ever in the history of the world. Yeah. He looked. I was going to say he looked terrified. I suppose it was just his like pre-race thing. Like could you hear what he was saying?
I don't know. It was in German, but yeah. Like,
so he was talking to himself, obviously running through what he needs.
Because Joe and I had talked about it. We talked about it after the race, and we were like, I think it was at the party maybe, and we were all talking to each other, and Joe was like, "What are you on about on the ramp, man? Like, what are you doing?" Because
what were you doing?
Like the guy, so his name's Noah, and like he was. I don't know what he was doing. He was kind of moving around and saying all this stuff to himself, and he had his eyes closed and all sorts of jazz. And I was just sitting there like, this guy's like tripping out. What's going on?
Yeah, because I saw him and I thought, this guy looks petrified out of his depth. But then he had a great run, had a great result. So it obviously works for him. You just looked so chill. You looked so happy to be there.
Yeah, I was. Like, I mean, like I guess, like I said earlier, like I was just so happy with being there and enjoying all of it, and to be in the Olympic final and just staring out, like basically all in front of us was just the grandstand, was just epic. And I think like I let myself enjoy that, and then, as soon as they said get in position, it was like, it's on now, and kind of game face on. But yeah, it was sick, and like never forget being up there because it was such a good feeling.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, everyone's different. So some people obviously need to get themselves in that zone earlier, but you must have the ability just to flick into game face mode in a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I think different people prepare in different ways, and old mate Noah beside me obviously needed a little bit different than what I needed, but yeah, I think I was just so ready to go already, and there's a lot of sitting around beforehand. Like, you've got to be at the pre-start sort of 10 minutes before you run, and they weigh your boat and you choose your lanes and all that jazz. So there's quite a lot of time you can spend to prepare and do what you need to do. But yeah, I think, I don't know what happened to me when we go up on that start, but I was just stoked. And then as soon as the start procedure kind of came, I was like just into it.
Just like autopilot.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to I was just focusing really hard on the gate in front, like the wall kind of thing that's stopping us, and just I just wanted to hit the start with as much intensity as I could, and try to get the first few strokes and see what happens after that. Because like, all you can do is, as soon as the beep goes, it starts to drop. And so what I was doing is, when the beep goes, I was throwing myself from the back of my boat to the front to start the slide a bit earlier than someone else, and that seemed to be working quite well. And then trying to land with the right angle, so then I skip as fast as possible and then get the first few strokes in with this as much as intensity as possible. And like, if I could do that, then whatever happens. If someone else is faster than me off that, then so be it. But luckily, well, not luckily, it's what happened, but Joe was on my far right, so viewers left, and then Noah was in between us, and those two basically, when they landed, they went towards each other. So then, their first one or two strokes is a bit compromised, and luckily I was just kind of in free water, I suppose. And the guy to my left, who was actually a canoe paddler, so a C1, so in slalom, he's traditionally only uses one blade, and he had been doing kayak cross a little bit, but not heaps, and kind of managed to get through to the final just by taking advantage of different situations that happen in front of him. And that's half the game in kayak cross is reacting to what happens. And so he was actually, he's probably he's quite low ranked, or low ranked, I guess, high world ranking, and he was a bit slower off the ramp. So luckily I had clear water to my right and to my left. But actually, when I watched the replay, I did a right stroke to start and then a left one, and the left one, as I was pulling it out, came up underneath his bow because he was slow off the ramp, so he was a bit behind me. And then I let go of my paddle with that left side, did a right stroke, and then caught the left again, and then did the left. So I never even realised until I watched the replay. And I just because I just, all I wanted to do was just be as fast as possible. So I didn't even think about it, that I let go of my paddle. It was just, it's crazy to see, in slow motion.
Oh, so you could have lost your paddle? Or
Yeah,
how major is this?
I only had one hand on it. Yeah. So luckily, I guess luckily I just grabbed it again, and it was just I don't know, muscle memory just to get it back. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you if it was the perfect race, but I guess it wasn't. There's
I
little
suppose
incremental
not,
things you could have done.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's ever perfect in our sport, which I think is what keeps you coming back. But there's a few things. After the first upstream, obviously I was leading. I've got quite a fast roll, which is good. Means I can make a little bit of gap in that, and then
that's where you roll. So you go under the water.
Under the sort of limbo bar. You've got to go upside down, do a full 360, back up the other side. So mine's quite quick, and then the gate I was choosing, the upstream on the right, so you get to pick which side you go. The exit of that was kind of slow because it was real slow, through real slow water, And so I was still in the front, but then all through the next section, which was just downstreams all down the middle of the flow, Joe was just like breathing down my neck, like I could feel him behind me. And then I executed the last little bit of that, we call it a stagger sequence, really well, and just made enough gap that I could do the last upstream by myself. And kind of like our technique is to go into the up and you sort of grab it with your elbow. You like dip your elbow under, and then you've kind of got the gate in your little, I don't know, control pocket, I suppose. And then once I had that, I was like, shit, yeah, we're on here. We've actually won this thing.
And what's burning? Is it your arms burning?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. When does that start to hurt?
Like, to be honest, I didn't really notice it in the head-to-head rounds. It's more the time trials, because it's just you, and you're just going as hard as you can. So it's like a 60-second effort. So you're probably just over halfway down before things start to like tie up. But yeah, like it's, we did heaps of training for all of that kind of physical side of things, and yeah. Kind of like once you get to that, like the time trial is pretty horrible actually, because it's just an all-out max effort, and there's not much. There's a few technical aspects, but compared to like the traditional slalom, which is 90 seconds or 80 to 90 seconds, so you'd think it would be like a harder effort, but there's way more technique involved. So you actually, you're using all different parts of your body, and it's not just like thrashing your arms.
Yeah. So in the lead up to this, say 3 months prior to Paris, what did an average day or week look like on and off the water? Like how much? I suppose what I'm asking is, it's like the picture of the iceberg. So this gold medal. This is the bit of the iceberg that we see out of the water. Yeah. What's underneath the water?
Well, so like 3 months before, we were in Europe already, preparing. So I was in Paris, being able to train on that venue, which makes a big difference, because then you become, like you learn all the different waves and how all the flow and the current and the eddies react, and that kind of thing. So probably like an average day would be either a morning gym session. So, whenever nothing happens in France before 10 a.m. So
I love that about France.
You can't train before 10 a.m. anyway, unless you're going for a run or whatever. And so it'll be like a morning gym or a morning on the whitewater, and then something in the afternoon as well. So most days there will be double sessions, and probably in total around 90 minutes, including like warm up and that kind of stuff. So we get like an hour slot on the whitewater, and then either side of that you got warm up and warm down, and so I don't know, I suppose an average day would be wake up and have breakfast, and then either go paddling or go to the gym, and go home, go to the bakery, probably get a baguette.
God, you're so uncomplicated, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of other stuff that goes into stuff, but like we've got, my training week would be structured. There's a lot to fit in, because obviously, there's big physical aspect, but it's so technical as well. And we are juggling still, like kite cross and slalom, and I want to be the best in the world at both of them. So trying to use them both to complement each other is important, and the kayak cross probably requires a higher like physical load and physical input. So like gym, and then some savage like interval sessions on the flat water generally, and then a lot of the stuff on the whitewater would be like slalom specific, like technique sessions, working on different moves or different ways to do upstreams or downstreams or whatever, and then also like performance-y kind of sessions. So we might do like a race length run, which we call full runs, and then you'd like either do that, or a session might be you'd split that into 4. So, 15 to 20 second efforts, or courses. So yeah, there's like so many things, and you can honestly like go down rabbit holes of different stuff, but it's all like a juggle and a lot of compromise on how does this session affect the next one or the session before it. Did you do gym too close to your interval session, so then you couldn't be in the right intensity for the intervals? So yeah, it's all trying to like work through how the week's structured, and yeah, and then also like just even being on the whitewater is just really fun. So it's like part of that as well.
And what about like nerves and anxiety and stressor and pressure leading up to like a pinnacle event like this? Like so much work's going into this one event that you get one shot at it every 4 years.
Yeah. Well, I think it was my first games as well. So
yeah, because you were kind of for the Tokyo Games, you were like a reserve or something.
Yeah, so I was second in our like internal selection, so I just missed out on going to that. So yeah, like a non-traveling reserve basically. So yeah, first experience of Olympics, and I guess leading up to it, it's funny because I reference Lisa's podcast again, but she mentioned that about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months out, she had a lot of doubt and like can I actually do this? Can I do the goal that we set out to achieve or whatever? And I was the exact same. And I think so probably like through those World Cups, which were end of May, start of June, like I was performing really well. Like I was second in slalom and third in cross at the first one, and then I was in the top 10 in slalom again. I was 10th in the second race, which is a really good result. And then the third race, I was 6th in cross there too. So it was like a really good block of racing, and showed that I was in pretty good form. And even though we didn't really prepare those races, but then probably after that, I just started like doubting a lot of things and questioning like, am I doing the right thing? And I think it probably came from being in the point of the training block where like you're just getting like smashed like physically, you're just in the hole. And I think like when you get to that point, then things start to like feel a bit average on the water, like, and I kind of focus a lot on how I like on the feeling, so the connection with the water and my blades and stuff. And I guess a bit of a hole that I got into was like, I'm not feeling good. And it was just because we were doing so much other training as well as like the little technical things that, you get into that mindset. And I think it was quite interesting to then kind of work through that and realize that actually like this is the plan that we talked about, we thought a lot about, we planned with all of my support team and about what we wanted to do. And these are the reasons why we're doing it. You just got to trust that you'll come to the other end and come right, a week or 2 weeks before the big event, and then you'll be like firing. So it's just like kind of trying to get through that little dip that and then once you come to the other side, you're like, oh, okay, I'm actually like sending it now. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, that is exactly the same as Dame Lisa Ray. Like when I had her on my podcast, she talked about how the self-doubt creeps in when she's doing those hard training blocks.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And I think like my coach asked me the other day, what did you get out of Lisa's podcast? And that's like the first thing I said. I was like, oh, yeah, she was like in the same place that I was. And like, yeah. And I think Gordy had mentioned, Gordy, Lisa's coach, had mentioned that, like all gold medalists or, anyone will go through that part. And then it's like the ones that end up winning or doing really well after that are the ones that can find their way through it and then use that to like get better rather than like get stuck in that same rut. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's all just part of preparation for a big event. And there was definitely nerves, but at the same time, like it was like a dream, a childhood goal to even be at the games. So, we did a lot of work on the psychology side of how I wanted to approach it and how I wanted to use the environment to give me energy instead of like letting it take energy from me. So, everyone talks about the Olympics being like just a completely different event to anything else, that it's quite overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff going on. things take time, and like things take a lot of time at the games. There's just a lot of like waiting, just waiting for no reason. And like, but I think the mindset that I had and like my coach had as well was just to use like that environment and enjoy it and use it to take energy instead of, focusing on the things that you can't control and realizing that, people are just take time and piss around and do all sorts of stuff. And if you can get energy from that and from the crowd and everything, then you're gonna enjoy yourself a lot more. So. And
are you a journaler, or you do any sort of visualization or manifesting or anything like that?
Yeah, not so much journaling. Heaps of visualization. I think it like ever since I was a kid, just visualizing training or racing, and even just before I go or in the days before I go. Because so in slalom you get you can train on the venue, and then the race course gets set on like the night before the evening before the race, and we don't pedal on that particular gate setup. So I do a lot of visualization to basically practice those moves before I race. So heaps of that kind of stuff. And there was a bit of that going on when I was in Paris before the games, and then in the months before the games as well, because I spent a lot of time there, and it was quite cool seeing like the grandstand get built rather than coming from somewhere else and just arriving and it was just a huge grandstand. So as those sort of things started getting built, then I was doing like some targeted visualization work on like being in that environment when like, oh, now I know how big the grandstands is. I can add that into my like visualization into, when I'm training, we're doing full runs or whatever, and I can actually have a bit more information to add into there. So that's kind of mostly what I do, and then a bit of mindfulness work and that kind of stuff. So
so
cool.
you've had a sports psych since 2016, eh? So 8 years. What has that person brought to the butcher team?
A heck of a lot. So I guess probably when I started working with her as Kylie Wilson through High Performance Sport in 2016, I was like pretty naive on what it takes, I suppose, like anything.
It was just an uncomplicated young man from Central Otago.
So, but I just wanted to like try to get some techniques to be able to improve my consistency. I think that's what I went to it with, and was like, hey, like, results are a bit inconsistent, or performances are, and how can I have my mindset to be kind of stable when I start, I know where I am. And so I think, we've done a lot of different things over the years, but there's a lot of like being in the moment. There's a few big themes, like being in the moment, and that could be like actually physically being in there, and then also mentally, and then we've got to back up a semi-final with a final, and you might have a good run or a not so good run, and you've got to like bring yourself down to ground zero or back up to ground zero, and that's kind of like your, to find your operating level and then bring yourself down or up to that. There's a bit of that, and then like a lot of learning about myself, and it's funny because your mind and like performance is, I've said this before, it's like a puzzle, right? And you're trying to like solve this puzzle with different techniques and learning about yourself and that kind of stuff, and then at the same time you're solving the puzzle, the other end of the puzzle's changing.
Right.
Because like the context changes, you change, everyone else changes around you, like you grow, you learn different things, and then that changes how you perceive yourself, how other people perceive you, and like, so as when you start to figure something out, then like something else is changing in the background. So it's just like a constantly evolving piece, like a puzzle. And so it's quite an interesting way to look at it, because it never stops, right? What you did at this race that you perform really well at is going to be different to the next race, because everything's changed. So yeah, it's pretty fun. But yeah, it's been awesome working with her, because she's she's obviously extremely knowledgeable about stuff, but she's also a legend. So she's cool to hang out with and talk to and catch up about things. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Were you reluctant or apprehensive about seeing like a sports psychologist in the beginning, or no?
Not at all.
No.
Nah. I don't know why, but yeah, I was just like
open to
this.
it.
Yeah, real open. Like, this is another aspect of performance that I can work on. So I think, I don't know if I'd had education in the past which made a difference and made me realize that was a good part to work on, or what, but also like Luca being around, and I think her, like the way she spoke about the mind work she did, and actually Kylie is her psych as well, so I think I was just like, hell yeah, like Luca's just won a silver medal. I don't know if it was before or after that I started with Kylie, but like I was like, Luca's performing at an exceptional level, like she's doing stuff right. So
I want some of what she's having.
Yeah, so I was like, oh hell yeah,
yeah.
I'll latch onto that. So I think that's probably where it started, and as you go through, you learn how important it is.
Yeah, Luca Jones, by the way, that's who you're talking about.
Yeah,
5 Olympic Games.
Yeah,
and 2 medals, silver and bronze, or no, just
1 medal. Yeah. So she was, she's a weapon. And she, I mean, we were pretty gutted for her this year to not be in the final in the kite cross, because she was definitely on for one. But that's sport, unfortunately.
So where were you? Go back to the beginning of the games. Where were you for the opening ceremony? Were you on the New Zealand boat?
Yeah, I was on the boat getting absolutely saturated.
It was so wet. It was the What was it like being there? Because from a TV perspective, I'd rate it as the greatest opening ceremony I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal. Like using the whole city as part of the show. But I was thinking on the boat. Yeah, was it a bit shit?
I loved it, but I don't know if that was just like my mindset that I talked about earlier. But yeah, it was sick. It was just like a boat tour down the middle of Paris of like all of the epic landmarks that you wouldn't see otherwise, and there was pretty good crowds. It was pissing down, and it was kind of cold on the boat eventually, because we had just these shitty little ponchos, like just those plastic that you could do a festival or something.
Yeah.
And so all we had was those, and then we took them off when like the camera was supposed to come on. But I think we got a bit early. So we were just like getting absolutely saturated. But it was really fun, and not heaps of our team went. So it was like kind of a smaller team. We had a lot of support staff that went. I think they kind of were like, guys,
I'll make up numbers.
Yeah. But it was epic. And I mean, we didn't see heaps of the presentation, all the acts and that kind of stuff, because I think it was kind of made for TV. I think some people who paid like thousands of euros to sit on the side of the river would have been pretty disappointed, because it's not made for.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like unless you've got seats, near the steps where Lady Gaga was singing, you're not going to see that
exactly.
at all.
Yeah, but on TV you'd see all the things that they want you to see. So, but yeah, it was cool regardless. Like we just seeing the crowds and all the different landmarks, and that was epic. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, because the kayaking area was quite a way out of the Olympic Village, right?
Yeah.
So were you staying in an Airbnb or?
I stayed in the village.
Oh, the village.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God,
So
how long was the commute?
It depended. Depended on if the bus got lost or not.
Oh God.
Yeah. So on a good run, so there was like Olympic lanes on the motorway. So one whole lane was just for like Olympic transport.
Oh, so, that's like a T2 lane, but for
pretty much,
Olympians.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if they had like, it's real dumb, because they had like a like their own app, a transport app which prioritized the Olympic lanes, which makes sense, right? But then the app was real buggy, and all the bus drivers are just volunteers not from Paris, so no one knows where they're going. And so if that app bugged out and like just quit or something, they would just whip up like Google Maps or Waze or whatever they do, and that would take us on like a crazy route because it was trying to avoid the traffic, even though we didn't go through the traffic because we had our own lane. So like for the first few days, it was just like, it took us so long sometimes, like over an hour and a half to get there because like the bus drivers were just driving like randomly. I've got a screenshot on my phone and it's like of Google Maps, and you know how it shows like the little dot where you are, and we're like on the complete wrong side of Paris. And then finally someone went, like one of the coaches or whatever went up to the bus driver like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I don't know, like the app didn't stop working, and he was just driving like randomly, just like
Oh my God, that's
trying
cool.
to find his way by the nose. So but on a good day it was like less than an hour, 45 minutes. But they asked us quite a long time ago, like quite a long time before the games, like a year or two, if we wanted to stay in the village or at a separate place or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm not even qualified yet. And also like, I don't know, like village, I guess. And we got, there was other times where we could have probably changed things, but I really wanted to stay in the village because I, might never get to go to the Olympics again. It just depends on a lot of different things. So
yeah, I feel like you'd miss out on the whole Olympic experience if you didn't stay there.
For sure. And I'd spoken to some other coaches and athletes who'd been there and done that, and they were like, to be honest, that's like pretty normal travel time. And Luca's old coach Campbell, who now actually coaches Joe Clark, who was the guy who was second in kayak cross, he was like, well, yeah, like in Rio it was about the same, and we just made good time of it, did our video review on the bus, and had lots of food to make sure you recover properly and that kind of stuff, and like we managed it and it was all good. And I actually am really, really happy we stayed in the village, because we got to experience being part of the whole New Zealand team, which was awesome. And
it
was crazy.
I cannot imagine anything more badass than walking around the Olympic Village with a gold medal around your neck.
Yeah, I think
having some of the world's most elite athletes congratulating you.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever walked around the village with it around my neck.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it not the done thing?
I don't think I really saw it, no. But it was like there was definitely people that I knew that were congratulating me around the village and stuff. But I think it would be more badass to walk around like just town like that. Because like the Olympic Village, like people see, they're all athletes or coaches, and like they see Olympic champions all the time. But like if you just walk down like the mall with your Olympic medal on, people would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fair point.
So, but yeah, it was a really, really cool environment. Like just a whole suburb of massive new apartment buildings with like 10 to 30,000 people living there, all eating at the food hall. Like it was crazy.
And the cardboard beds, what were they like?
Oh shit!
Oh, were they?
Yeah. Oh, the cardboard part of it's fine because it's just the base. So like a bed base is hard anyway, and like it's not going to collapse. It's pretty strong. Like, I don't know. I feel like David Leite was sleeping on it, and
the
he's a
weightlifter.
unit.
Yeah.
So like 77 kilos of me is going to be fine. But the mattress was terrible. The mattress is super thin. It's like, I don't know, 15 centimeters, 10 centimeters thick. And it's like recycled plastic. It was just real hard. So the first few nights I had pretty dusty sleeps. And then we actually teed up. One of the support staff went and got a mattress topper for me. And then after that was mint.
Oh, sweet.
So,
and did you fangirl over anyone in the Olympic Village? Did you see anyone of note?
Oh, I saw Andy Murray.
Oh, yep.
But I think all the big dogs go and stay at like hotels.
It'd be so hard, being
yeah. I think they pop in for like a day or something, or just go for dinner at some time. But yeah, it would be hard. Like I feel like you just get so many people wanting your autograph or a photo or whatever that you couldn't actually prepare your event properly. So yeah, I think like I really wanted to see like LeBron James or Steph Curry or something, but they were all just in a hotel. And I'm real into road cycling, not doing it but watching it. And so there's a few of the Belgian road cyclists and that kind of thing that I saw around the village, and that was quite cool. But I'm not really the one that would be like run up to someone and want a photo.
Yeah.
So I just saw.
You're not Michaela Blythe with Shelley Ann Fraser Price.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that into it, but yeah. So I just like, oh, it's Wout van Aert or whoever. So yeah, not a huge fangirl.
And any New Zealanders that you sort of you bonded with or became good friends with?
Yeah, a few actually. So actually good mates with Lawrence Pithy. So he's one of our road cyclists. So yeah, got mates with him, and he actually came out to the kite cross for a couple of days. He had to shoot off to another race before the finals, but he was loving it, man. So there's a bit of that, and then everyone was super friendly, and the hockey boys, the roads, the rock climbers, they were awesome. They were like, I think one of their sort of goals, because it's like they're a small sport, right, and they probably don't get like us like too much interaction with other New Zealand sports, and I think one of their things was that they were deliberately wanting to like interact and hang out with other people, so they were always around for a coffee or a hangout down in our team room and watch different sports. So they were really cool. Yeah, I mean everyone in the New Zealand team was just super friendly and like all there for the same reason, but also all there to enjoy the whole atmosphere. So
yeah, okay. So yeah, man, what an experience!
Oh,
it's so bloody cool.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
My like camera roll from July and August is just nuts on my phone. It's just photos on there that I just would never have ever imagined that I'd have. Yeah, it's sick.
I never get sick of doing these podcasts with Olympians, especially. Yeah, I'm obsessed with the Olympics, especially people that go there and win a gold medal. Like it's just nuts.
Yeah.
So okay, so you win the race. Then what happens? Drug testing and
yeah.
So you can't. So you had heaps of family there, right? Family and friends, and your girlfriend got T-shirts printed up, like 28 T-shirts. What do the T-shirts say?
Yeah. They just had. They have like different photos of me on it, kind of one of those ones, and then just like my last name on the top, and it was funny because like they were black, and then like the first day that everyone wore them, it was like 37 degrees or something, and they were all in the stands just like absolutely cooking. I was like, sorry guys, should have made them white, but too bad.
Who were the lucky 28?
Geez, I don't even know if I can name all.
Amazing, like just family, friends, or friends of yours, or
all sorts. Yeah, so like, mum and dad were there, and my sister and her partner or her fiance, and then Courtney, obviously my girlfriend, and then her parents were there. Couple of my friends. There was like some came for the slalom and not the cross, and then some just the cross and not the slalom. And then like I had a good amount of friends that came, and one of my physios, Hayley, she lives in Aussie now, but she came over for it. Amy Fisher, good friends with her, so she was there. It was actually really cool because she snuck into she was obviously flatwater kayaking, and their venues on the lake that our course comes off of, so we're kind of joined, and so she like snuck into the athletes area, which only like the accredited people could get into, and so she was there like when I finished in the final, and she was like right there's a sick photo of her. I think I'm like Lucas hugging me, and then Fish is behind me just like bawling her eyes out. It's so cool. So she had one on. Yeah, and then like friends who have like family friends who got me into the sport, like Mary and Gordy, and then Pip and Ian, who like were up in Auckland, but they like Ian took me on like some of my first trips away. Like we went on a junior tour to Aussie, like a development squad tour kind of thing. I was probably like 15 or maybe even 14, and like they've just been like huge supporters of the sport and of me. So yeah, like they were all there, and but yeah, it's straight after the race is pretty hectic. We had doping control, but it was like finish. They were like, you get one interview, and it was just with like the Olympic broadcast, I guess, and then straight to like this kind of room in a tent, like a tent that had our uniform in it. So before the race, we've got to get all our uniform ready to go, and I just gave it to Luca's coach, who was like team leader, and like he sorted it out. And then I go somewhere, I guess. And when I got into that tent, it was like there, I had a little box with my uniform, tracksuit, all there. So like the three of us got, you get changed, and then a few minutes later, straight on the podium, and then we got to go across the river, across the course, and like meet up with like friends and family and stuff for like a couple minutes, which was epic. So cool to see all them over there. And then back again, did an interview with Miles and a few others, which was awesome. And then they just whipped us off to like a big press conference, and then straight into doping control, which is kind of the first time you get to breathe a little bit and be like, holy shit.
What just happened?
What just happened? Yeah. It was like crazy. Like I have a photo of me and Noemi Fox. So she's a good friend from Aussie. And she won the kayak cross, the women's final, one race before mine or two races before mine. I can't remember if it was hers, then the men's like B final, and then me. But I heard on the speaker that she won, or she was winning when I was waiting for my race, and she won. And then I got a photo with her and dope, and like while we were just waiting in doping control for all the documents and stuff, and we were just like, holy shit, this is crazy. And we both had our gold medals. So yeah, it was epic. And then I had heaps of other media, and finally I got back to the village at like 10 o'clock at night. And the team came out and did a big haka for me to welcome me back in, which was pretty powerful.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
Were you emotional?
Yeah. Pretty emotional, but like just and kind of like in awe, and just like, wow, this is amazing. Whole experience, yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. Oh, and then did you party with the Irish? No.
Yeah, we went.
Did you end up at the Irish?
So that was like, that was a couple nights later. So that night, because I didn't get back to the village till 10, then I had a shower and all that stuff, because I couldn't shower after my race because it was just straight to the podium basically. So I was like, man, I probably smell like terrible. And then so shower and stuff, finally got into like NZ House just after 11:30 maybe, to meet up with friends and family, and like all the guys that were at the course supporting me all went there, and I was meeting up with them. And then we went to like just a chill bar, and then they closed we only had a couple beers and they closed. So the next night was I don't know if it was the next night or the night after that was real big, but we met up, all the kayakers met up. And so like all of us, all the medalists, everyone who was still in Paris, all met up, and we went to a bar which is called Wall Street, and like all the prices of the drinks changed like
like the stock market
exchange. Yeah, it was sick. And then so we're all there, and like the bartenders were so stoked that we were there, and like I was behind the bar like pouring people drinks, like taking orders, making shots for people. It was so funny. I got a video of them like pouring a shot into my mouth. Like, it's hilarious. And that's the night. And then after that, we went to the Irish House. And so Kiwi House was at the Marriott on the Champs-Elysees. So it's like kind of a place you could go, hang out, watch the sport, have a couple beers, but not like fully send it. Mm-hmm. The Irish House was just obviously at an Irish bar. And so,
why not?
Because why not? And so my mate Noel, who's Irish, paddles for Ireland, he like teed it up that we'd all get in there. And so like we all like, had our medals on, and we just like go into this bar. And then we just, we sent it. I think we got home at 7:30 in the morning back to the
incredible.
So that was it was an awesome night. It was good fun.
Yeah, you referenced Miles before, Andrew Mulligan, and the speech that you made just after winning, and I feel like you didn't forget to thank anyone. Like, it was a really good speech, and you mentioned you gave a shout out to Sarge, who's your coach, who died of pancreatic cancer in 2022. Yeah, let's talk about him.
Yeah.
Who's Sarge?
I probably did forget to mention people. I can't remember what I said, but...
Well, there's 28 people in T-shirts. You can't get everyone.
28 people that made it there. There's a heck of a lot that didn't make it.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Sarge, so Alan Hoffman is his full name, but obviously Sarge, he was in the military, pretty high up in the military, but just a all-round legend, pretty much. So he was basically... When I was growing up in Alex, him and his family, his wife and 2 kids were based in Wanaka. So they kind of were pretty integral in the whole kayaking scene around Central Otago, running races and that kind of stuff. And he was just someone who would do anything just to see someone happy and succeed, but his idea of success wasn't winning or anything. It was just enjoying kayaking, basically. So yeah, I mean, he was just an absolute legend. Supported me basically since I started. He was actually, so when I first started, I went to a novice slalom race when I was about 9 with some other friends, and our family friends were kind of in the scene. Well, they were basically the scene, and running it. And so Sarge was running that race, and so and then I won this little novice slalom race, and he gave me a chocolate fish and stuff. And he was at the end of the prize giving, he was selling an old slalom boat for $200 or something with a paddle. And Dad was kind of I saw you enjoy it. If you really want to do it, go and ask Sarge if you can buy this boat off him or whatever. And yeah, so we did that, and then we went up to Wanaka that week and picked up this boat, and yeah, just loved it ever since. But he when he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, he basically was 6 to 9 months. And he was there was I don't know the date, but he had, so, and by that time, him and his wife Kirst had moved over to Wakawait on the coast, just about north of Dunedin, and he had this. So there's a whitewater course in Tekapo, and that was kind of his. He always said it's his mistress, he was just there all the time, just working on this course, literally moving rocks, concreting, on the digger, all sorts of stuff, and just trying to make this course and this venue better for everyone to enjoy. And he was all through his chemo, everything, he was out there all the time in the freezing cold, just working so hard. And it was it's just inspirational. If it's kind of it's just one of those people that kind of connects with you and goes and it just makes you realize what actually matters in life. And it's not for him, it wasn't getting heaps of cash. It wasn't all this stuff. It was just enjoying paddling and helping the community and hanging out with his family. And he's just a legend. It's super hard to describe because I'm getting emotional. Just I'm stop myself crying every time. But
do you? Why do you? Yeah, why do you?
Well, not stop. Otherwise, I won't be able to say anything.
Yeah, I think that's the nicest thing you can do, though. I mean, he's obviously gone, and whether you believe in an afterlife or not, keep acknowledging him and talking about him in such a nice way. I can't imagine what that means to the family, and people that know him, that you're keeping that memory alive.
Yeah, he's a bloody good man. So it was cool. I actually, when I flew back in, when I came back in straight after the games, his son Nick is a pilot for Air New Zealand, and he was actually up in Auckland on he was on standby and had to fly to Auckland, so he had the whole day. And so Lorenz, my mate, came and picked me up, and Nick actually met us at the airport, and it was so cool to see him there. And then we went for a beer and a burger at Northcote Tab, and it was cool, man.
After his diagnosis, how long did he How long did he last?
Oh,
Sounds from what you
a
described.
long time.
Yeah.
Fuck,
He must have been in pain too.
Yeah. Oh, unimaginable. Fuck, when was it? I think it was 2015 maybe, and then he passed a couple of years ago.
Can you remember your final conversation with him or anything? Was it anything poignant or special or?
Nah, not really. I think it was probably just some exchanged some messages while I was overseas. Yeah, because he was always watching. Yeah, he was. And he was
really just following whatever you were doing.
Yeah, bro. Like he was the first one to message me. I think first one to message me, and Dad always said like he was the first one to message Dad straight after a race. That was so cool. Like, yeah, it was just like 4 a.m. up watching. Like, yeah.
Did he did he think this was possible? Like, did he have this belief in you? What would he make of all this?
Yeah, I reckon he did. Yeah, I reckon he did. Man, some of his stories are so good. Like, I was messaging a mate yesterday and he was like, I hope you tell some Sarge stories. It's like, so hectic, eh? Like,
what do you got?
Because he's so, because obviously it's been a lot of time in the army. He was a tank commander. Like, there's all sorts of stuff, like just stuff in the army that he would do. And, you know, us little kids, we would just be like in awe of all these stories that he was talking about. And, you know, driving tanks around the desert road and shooting at horses and all sorts of stuff. Like, and the kids are horses. Yeah, I don't know how much I can say on the podcast, but
I know, just to be clear for anyone that's not familiar, they're not like dressage horses or anything. They're wild. They're very dangerous.
Yeah, and so you know, all this sort of stuff. And I remember in we had this little course, this little river just outside Dunedin in Waipori, and you know, like I think we had secondary school champs there or something, and we were preparing for it and cutting all these trees down. And so we had this big bonfire, and it wasn't lit, and he was like, "Watch this, kids!" And he just like got the gasoline, you know, got the petrol can and just made a trail, and then doused this whole thing. And then he was like, "Step back!" And he didn't hold back on the profanities either. Like every sentence was swearing, and so like, you know. All these, you know, what are we, like 12, 13, and just learning how to swear from him pretty much. And he just lights it up and just this whole bonfire. And so, like, he just got shit done. And he hated, like, bureaucracy and barriers to people being in the sport. And yeah, I remember him in the water in Waipori, up to basically almost his neck with a chainsaw, cutting trees so we could run a race that went further down the river. So there was trees across the river, and he was cutting these trees with his chainsaw and like up to his neck in water, and then cutting them down into the water with the chainsaw, and just like there's just nothing would stop him, eh? And
but he sounds so loose.
Oh, he's real loose, but just the kindest guy. And so, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of not war stories, but military stories that he would tell us that us kids would just be like, holy.
Yeah, so he would have definitely been T-shirt 29.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And Dale and Wendy, your parents.
Yeah.
Fuck, they sound incredible.
Yeah.
They've retired now?
Yeah.
So they were they're in the hospitality game.
Yeah.
What did they have? Was it like a wedding venue, a catering business? What was it?
Yeah. So basically, I think not long after they had kids, they decided to kind of build this cafe and wedding business. Actually, I think the idea might have come from one of my best friends who I grew up with. His parents got married at their house, and then they were kind of like, oh, we could, you know, maybe turn this into a business. So yeah, they had a cafe and function centre, and had, I don't know, over 500 or 600 weddings throughout their time. So they were there for 34 years, but kind of not all that time they were running. It was an orchard at the start. And yeah, they just, like, I'm so lucky to have them. It's like they were just so supportive of me, and how much sacrifice they gave, and honestly, they like the hardest working people I'd ever imagine. I mean, anyone who's in the hospitality business knows that it's just, you just got to work hard and long hours, and being like at home was even more. So because they couldn't go home after work; they were still there. So everything was just constantly working, and but yeah, they just, like, they always said that my kayaking was their hobby. Like, supporting me was their hobby, because I guess that's what it takes at, sort of grassroots sport level. Like, people have to make a lot of sacrifices, and without my parents, I definitely wouldn't still be paddling, because it's pretty expensive to go paddling, even around New Zealand, and then let alone traveling to Europe to go and race internationally. It's big costs.
Yeah, because it's not one of those, like, if you were the equivalent level in, say, rugby or cricket, you'd be getting a good pay packet. But it's not a big money sport. So
nah.
I've heard they were working like 100-hour weeks.
Yeah.
And basically pumping anything they made into advancing your career.
Pretty much, yeah. And like you say, that it wasn't like, it's not like, I guess, Formula One or something, where if you pump up your son or daughter's career, then eventually there's going to be a payday, potentially. There was no potential payday for this. It was just, you're passionate about this and you love it and you're happy, and we just want to see you do that, so we'll support you. And there was never any kickback financially that was on the horizon. It was just you just like it, so we'll help you do it. And we had, our house was kind of funny. It had like a glass ceiling on one of the there was like a double lounge kind of thing. It was weird, and it was all cracked and leaking and stuff. So every time it rained, luckily we lived in Alexandria where it's not much rain, but every time it did rain, it would just pour through the roof. So we had to put buckets and stuff out. And Mum would always say, I'd rather spend the money on sending you to Europe or sending you on a training camp or helping you do whatever than fix the roof. So yeah, it's just stuff like that that parents do that it makes a big difference. So I mean, it was pretty cool to see, to have them in Paris, and then also like see the interviews with them and be able to like have them there with me through all that, because I wouldn't have been there without them. So, yeah, pretty cool.
That story about the glass ceiling. That's,
yeah.
Did you feel guilty
funny,
about it? You're over in Europe.
For sure. There was like different periods where I was like, you feel
this better work.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it was like, I know that they're working bloody hard for me.
Yeah.
So if I'm not working bloody hard to get better at something that they're allowing me to do, then what's, who am I, kind of thing. So yeah, they are just epic parents, man. Like, and seeing them like chilling, retired, is just so special. Like going down south, and like they sold up the business a couple of years ago now, and retired, and I got like some decent results in 2021, so got a little bit of funding. So like things weren't, we didn't have to pay as much money. Basically, it's still losing money, but
keeping your head above water.
Just so it meant that they didn't have to work as hard, basically, which was pretty special. And then seeing them retire and just like they renovated a house that looks kind of up over the river and up to the Leaning Rock down in Alex, and like just going down there and hanging out with them, and they don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start working at 7 in the cafe for a wedding that's that night or whatever. Is pretty cool. And just like, get up late and they have a 9:30 coffee looking out over the river. It's like, man, I'm so happy for you guys that you can do this now. So Yeah,
Jeez,
cool.
Mate, I can hear the like the love and the respect in your voice when you talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think for their perspective, like if they ever watch or hear this or any other interview you've done for that matter, yeah, I mean they'll know how grateful you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is cool. Are you any other siblings?
Yeah, I've got an older sister.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was living in the house with the leaky roof.
yeah. Spending all his money on Finn's kayaking.
Well, I did hear your dad in another interview, or maybe I read it somewhere, saying you were like always a really disciplined trainer, but terribly messy room.
yeah. It still is.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I run a floor drove off. I don't know why. I just always been like that. My parents aren't really like that either. I don't know where I got it from, but yeah, messy room. I was a bit of a procrastinator when I was a kid as well. So there was definitely a few times where Dad would be like, come on, you've like, before I got my license and stuff, go on, it's you come paddling time or whatever. And I'd be just pissing around doing something. Like, I don't know what I was doing, and he'd be like, tie my boat on the roof, get all my gear ready, get it in the car. And then like, Mum would be like, come on, like all you got to do is get in the car. And then Dad would take me and I'd be happy once I got there, but just for some reason mucking around procrastinating, and he used to get frustrated because there's nothing that annoys him more than being late. And I think I got that from Mum because she's always late and then Dad's always pissed off. So oh man, it's
But were you quite self-driven though? Oh, I mean, it's understandable if you, especially in your teenage years, I guess, that you have moments where you can't be fucked or whatever. But for the most part, you were that sort of single-minded focus.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, I think probably as well from a small sport, from a small town, and we didn't have we had a club. Our club's bloody awesome, but often we didn't have any coaching. It wasn't like now where it's like, all right, we've got these sessions and the coach is there and you turn up and, like you work hard together sort of thing. A lot of it was just like, here's your plan, which either I've made myself or, I've talked to someone and a local coach or someone who sort of knows what they're talking about to then, help me figure out what I need to do. And so, yeah, most of it was just by yourself, and especially through the winter, there was like the kind of numbers that you'd be paddling with in the summer really thin down when you're paddling in Central Otago in the winter. So
I can imagine.
Yeah. So I think I was always self-driven. I just always loved it. I think. I don't know. I think it didn't come until maybe around the Rio Olympics time, like 2015, 2016, where I was kind of like, that dream that I had as a kid of going to the Olympics was actually kind of more tangible. So
you were like 20, 21 at the time?
Yeah, so I went to Otago Uni for 2 years, like 2013, 14, which was like pretty cool experience, but also I was trying to train. I was kind of like half in the training, half being a student, and it kind of got to the point where I was like, right, I'm like, do I want to be good at canoeing, at kayaking, or just finish my studies and kind of like go into a normal job and do that kind of stuff? And I decided, I wanted to be good at paddling. So I took a year off and actually moved up, lived in Tauranga for the summer, and then went to Europe and did my first full season on the World Cup kind of tour. So it's sort of that point where I was like, right, training properly, deciding to really kind of give it something. Before that, it was obviously I was serious at school and serious when I went to uni with training, but it was kind of like I was compromising a lot. So after that, I started not compromising so much. But I think I was always self-driven, but also like the community we had in Alex and Central was just awesome, and everyone was it's just like a big family, and everyone wants to support and go enjoy things together. So
you have so much gratitude, eh?
Yeah, you have to, because like so many people have been a part of creating, or like helping me grow up and be who I am, and going to the games and, you know, representing New Zealand and getting that gold medal. But a lot of the time it wasn't for that. Like, no one's kind of like, especially in Alex, like, no one's there supporting this kid because he might be a child protege and he could go and win the Olympics one day. It's just like, oh, you like paddling? Oh, come with us. You know, like, we'll put you up, we'll bring you to the Skipper's Canyon or whatever for the weekend, and oh yeah, you come in our car, do whatever. It's just, yeah, it's all part of it. It's just like why people do the sport. So yeah, all those people, like, yeah, I couldn't have done it without them.
Such a cool aspect of like regional or provincial New Zealand. Eh?
Yeah.
Just that sort of real community energy, and it's like sort of like what you were talking about with Sarge before. It's it was just about having fun and getting amongst it.
Yeah,
so you
sure.
you were so your dad used to do coast to coast events and stuff.
Yep.
God knows how he fit in the training for that.
Honestly, I have no idea. Juggling young kids, a wedding business, and trying to train for the coast to coast, like a multi-sport event, because you've got to juggle, you know, multiple disciplines as well. I have no idea. But yeah, he did, I don't know, a few coast to coasts, a few of the one day ones as well. So I went and support crewed with him when I was a little grom, standing on the side of the river. Like, I think his actual support crew said, oh, here's his kayak, you know, just stand by his kayak, and when he comes, he'll be able to find it because he'll see you. And I don't know how old I was, just standing by his kayak, just waiting for him to turn up. So, yeah.
Did he go all right?
If
he was doing the longest day, he must have been okay. That's no joke.
Yeah. He was pretty good. You know, like he didn't win or anything, but he was I think he was a pretty good athlete. When he was younger, he grew up on the North Shore actually in Auckland, and he was real into his athletics. He was a runner, so.
Why did you? So you've got this this dad who's a great role model, and you see him doing training for the coast to coast. Why did you gravitate towards the kayak and not like cycling or say running?
Well, I don't really know. I think
you hate running, don't you?
Not a fan.
Goats pass is no joke.
I bet you my coach told you that. So we always had like kayaks around and bikes as well. But I don't know if that's what Dad liked more, but I remember when I was real young going up to Lake Dunstan, and they'd put me in the kayak and tie a piece of string to it, and then I'd just like potter my way out and they'd pull me back in. Reel me back in, yes. So I suppose like that was always there. And then I think it was like Mary and Gordy Rayner, I think they were like family friends of ours, and that's where the kayaking really started. I think I was kind of into all the sports, just doing all sorts of random stuff at when I was younger at primary school, and then just went along with a group of friends, and Mary and Gordy kind of brought us along to that novice slalom, and that was the kayaking thing. And I don't know, I remember saving up my pocket money for a while to buy a road bike, because I was like, I really want to do road cycling, and then I bought it finally, and then rode it a couple of times with Dad around the roads, and then I think I just got real scared of all the cars on the road, so then basically never just like threw that one in. But a lot of my good friends were really, really good at road cycling down in Alex, and I don't know, it's just kayaking was just what grabbed me, and I just loved it. So
How much of it is natural talent versus hard work? There must be some sort of natural ability there, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because you said like about Dad, but like Mum is the most like she's not competitive at all. Like not one bit. She does not care at all. So it's funny that I got into competitive sport. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the natural talent is probably just from being like around kayaks and water, and like starting at a young age and getting exposed to different environments and different rivers and that kind of stuff. I don't really know if it's natural or just it's just a product of who's been looking after you and who's been teaching you and where you've been. And I think you develop those skills at a really young age. And I think I was pretty lucky to start doing stuff when I was like 9 or 10 and start going kayaking and getting taken up into Skipper's Canyon or down the Roaring Meg or that kind of stuff. And I think that's probably the natural talent, but then the hard work comes in definitely, because that can only take you to a certain level. And like once you want to get above that and get in with the best in the world, then you've got to be working hard.
Yeah, no one has ever stood on the top of the Olympic podium with a gold medal around their neck just on natural talent.
No,
it's only
exactly.
Going to get you so far. By the way, I never realised Roaring Meg was like it's my favourite red wine.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun fact.
Yeah, it's a
blowing.
section on the Kiwi River, in the gorge between Queenstown and Cromwell. So Roaring Meg's a creek and a power station, and we kayak that section below the power station. You
and me are very different. So you think of it as a place to kayak. I think of it as a fine drop.
It is a good red wine.
It is. It's fantastic. Have you been back to your schools since you won the gold medal?
Yeah, I did. So when I came back straight after the games, I was in Auckland a little bit, and then I shot down to Alex for a few days, and went into my old primary school, Alex Primary, and my high school, Dunstan High, and then a few other primary schools around the area, and like that was super, super special. Like just being able to be an inspiration for some of those kids was pretty cool.
Because also Dunstan High, by the way, school motto is seek wisdom and gold. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like, and actually, we got like an old friends Snapchat group, which we don't really use because I sort of grown out of Snapchat. But it was funny when I was in doping control straight after the race. I just like took a photo of me with my medal and sent it to that group and said like, "Seek wisdom as gold," and then the boys were just fizzing. They sort of was so cool, and it's funny that the motto is seek wisdom as gold. I mean, it's a big gold mining area back in the day.
I was going to ask what it means. Is that what it is? Is it a nod to the gold mining history?
Yeah, so basically all of Alexandra and Central Otago was pretty much built on the back of gold mining back in the day. So that's a nod to that.
Yeah. Man, that's so cool. Hey, who did you have when you were growing up? Like who did you look up to in terms of like famous people or sports people?
I think actually Courtney asked me this the other day because I think mine was Hamish Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Geez, where did we win gold and silver? Was that Sydney 2000? No.
Athens, I think.
Athens.
Was it Athens?
He won a gold medal. Bevan Doherty won a silver.
Yeah. So I think I would have been like 9. So probably at that age where I was kind of like starting into sport sort of thing. And I remember that. I remember watching it. It was pretty epic. So...
it's hard to imagine or know the impact it has on those kids.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I'm from Palmerston North, which is it's a city, but it's a small city, and I suppose you put limitations on what you think you can do. When you're from a smaller place,
definitely.
So for these kids to see you there with a gold medal and know it's your region, it probably shows that there are no limits in a way.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty cool. And like I remember Barbara Kendall coming to I think she came to our primary school, and like still remembering that now is quite cool. I saw her in Paris and we had a yarn, and I was like, you came to my primary school, like you were part of the inspiration kind of to do sport. And now I like have the privilege to be able to do that. And especially in my region, it's pretty special because, I think, the kids there, they probably don't know it, but they are growing up in a pretty cool area of New Zealand. And there's a lot of opportunities down there that to live in that place is pretty special. And, to be able to see that someone from there can actually go to the highest level and achieve. And Nicole Shields, cyclist from Clyde, same high school as me. She won a silver in Paris as well, and like having two from the same school from that tiny little area is pretty cool. Yeah, so I think that's like the most special thing is when people or kids or whatever said, you know, oh, we got up early and watched you, it was awesome, like we were supporting you, and like that is the coolest thing to be able to see that and then see the inspiration in their eyes, you know, like that they just will be inspired to do something. If one person goes and does sport or picks up a paddle and goes kayaking, then man, from that, then I'm pretty happy.
Oh, it's so meaningful.
Yeah, for sure.
What about, you've mentioned Courtney a couple of times.
Yeah.
So who is she? Where did you guys meet? Is she in the scene?
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So she's a kayaker as well. So
Is she good?
we met through that. Yeah, she's good. So she races on the in the senior team on the World Cups and World Champs, and just missed out on, obviously she was behind Luca in the slalom, but there was a last chance regatta sort of thing for just the kayak cross. So she was going for that, but it didn't work out this time. But yeah, she's hopefully gonna keep plugging away and try to get to LA. So
She's got a pretty good mentor.
yeah, I know she listens to me. No, she's awesome. She's she's from Tauranga. So I think basically when I was kind of at high school or whatever, the two main areas were Central Otago and Bay Plenty for kayaking, and so yeah, she's from kind of that hub through there. So yeah, we met, I don't know, a few years after leaving school, and yeah.
Oh, so you've been together for ages?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are you engaged?
No, she keeps getting me the hints, but yeah. Nah, we'll see.
What is that? What is we'll see?
Oh, we lead busy lives. Nah, she's awesome. She was saying, she was like, I was looking for kind of after the games, you know, she's like, oh, I'll be your manager. But she kept saying, oh, my rate's 50%, 50% cut or 45% cut. She's like, oh, I'll do 40, but there's got to be a ring. So yeah, she's pretty funny. But
it's a tough negotiation.
Yeah, I know. She's
the pressure's on,
she's
mate.
a hard ask, but yeah, she's cool. So I was down at with her at her parents' house at the Mount last week, just hanging out. So she's working and training as well.
What's her job?
She does like marketing and social media at Signature Homes in Tauranga.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So she can do that overseas, which has been really good. So she can kind of like keep plugging away and working part-time and while she's away, because that's like the hardest thing for us is being able to do like earn money while you're overseas, because you know it's got to pay for it somehow. So she's worked out with them that she can do stuff online, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, big shout out to Signature Homes. That's really bloody lovely.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
cool. Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, we need to acknowledge like workplaces that do that are accommodating like that. And what about you financially? You get looked after by High Performance Sport, or do you have some good sponsors? Or?
Yeah. So obviously on the back of the games, there's a few more opportunities coming through, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we're kind of in the period at the moment, which happens at the end of every Olympic cycle, where all the sports kind of set their next 4-year plan or and to the next games and set all the budgets and apply for everything through High Performance Sport. So we're kind of in that like limbo phase at the moment where all those conversations are happening and things. So my coach and I were basically working on that a lot in the last few weeks, and then got that all in, and they're kind of having those meetings and stuff now. So basically High Performance Sport will be a big supporter, and then there's a few other things coming in. I don't know if we can talk about it, but I don't know. What do you reckon?
I reckon we talk about it.
Like,
the G one.
Yeah, the big G. Yeah.
Oh, let's talk. Okay, no, by the time this comes out, that'll all be signed, sealed,
potentially.
delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah, Generate, the Kiwi Saver Scheme, who are sponsors of my podcast. They've just inked you as a sponsor.
Yeah.
Which is so, they are awesome.
They are awesome.
They are such a great company to work with.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. So how did that relationship come about?
Actually, one of the kayaking parents saw their ads on TV, I guess. We Love a Kiwi First, and it happened to be on like straight after I won the gold medal, and they kind of were like, oh, like her sports marketing mind kind of went into overdrive, and then they just reached out and started the conversation with Generate, and they've been really cool, and I'm looking forward to working with them a bit more, and hopefully bringing out some cool stuff. So.
Oh, they were great. That's such a good story.
Yeah, it is cool.
Like the chance of reaching out to them and them going, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's pretty cool, and just from the few conversations that we've had so far, they're pretty cool, and obviously they've been a big supporter of yours for a while now, which is also epic. So
Finn, they've been instrumental in helping grow the podcast this year. It's been amazing, and they're such cool people to work with. I forgot to ask about the closing ceremony. So you're a flag, yourself and Dame Lisa, flag bearers at the closing ceremony.
Yeah.
So who asked you to do that? Is it the chef de mission?
Yeah. So chef de mission, Nigel Avery. So he called me. Courtney and I actually were about to go into the velodrome to watch some of the track cycling, which was like maybe 2 days before the closing. So he called me and basically asked if I'd carry the flag for New Zealand, and man, it was obviously a no-brainer for me. It was a pretty special moment to be able to spend a bit of time with Dame Lisa and share the flag carrying, walking out into the middle of Stade de France with 80-odd thousand people, and there was it was pretty cool, and definitely something I'll never forget. But the closing ceremony was funny. It was a bit of a shit show, I think.
Was it? In what way?
Oh, like we were out there, and so we like walk out with the flag, and then all the flags are kind of like around the stadium in the middle, and then the teams come out the 2 entrances or whatever, the tunnels, and we were kind of like, okay, cool, they're going to come in numerical order, alphabetical order, like the opening ceremony. And so we were sort of waiting and trying to figure out, like, hold on, this order is not, like, the right order. What's going on here? We're just waiting for New Zealand to come out. And then they finally, after a while, they just didn't come out. And then they were like, okay, we need to take your flag now to, like, continue the ceremony. You guys go find your team. And we were like, our team's not here. And so me and Lisa were just like chilling out, like, cool. And finally the Kiwis came out, and I think they'd been like, I don't know, all the order was just stuffed, and they'd been like stuck in a traffic jam at the back of in the tunnel, and it was like 40 degrees inside this tunnel, and they'd all come out and they were just drenched in sweat. Like they'd been waiting for ages, but it was pretty cool.
Because this is where they do the sort of handover, so it signifies the end of the Paris Olympics and the build up to LA 2028.
Yeah.
So they had chili peppers there.
Yeah. So we had like been hearing rumors about whatever's going to happen at the closing ceremony, and Snoop Dogg was obviously at the games like the whole time.
Yeah, rolling around with Martha Stewart.
Doing all sorts of stuff. And we were like, surely Snoop Dogg's going to perform at the closing ceremony. And we'd heard like that Tom Cruise was going to like parachute in or rappel in, which he did in the end. And the Chili's and someone else, I think. But they ended up just performing. They were performing in LA, and we just watched them on the screen. So it was like I was like, damn, Snoop Dogg's been here the whole time. And then he flew back to LA and performed with Dr. Dre in LA on the screen. So, basically what happened was like they kind of close off the Paris part, and then Tom Cruise like rappelled in off the stadium roof and kind of took the Olympic flag and hooned out on his motorbike, and then it changed to being on the TV of him taking the flag to LA, and then they performed there. So yeah, it was kind of funny. But I think for LA, like, man, it's going to be, the Americans will just do something bigger and better than anyone before, because that's what they do in America.
Well, I'm so much older than you, but one of my enduring memories is being like 11 years old, and that's when the '84 games were on in LA, and some dude came in a jetpack. And I was like, "This is the motherfucking future." It gives me goosebumps just thinking. about
imagine what it's going to be
84.
like in 4 years.
Incredible.
Yeah,
and I've heard you say you're going to be a different beast. Quote in LA in 4 years' time. What do you mean? How can you get better, or how can you build on what you've done?
Yeah, well, I think the cool thing is I'm definitely not where I think I can get to. So there's a lot of things. I mean, obviously, we're talking about that puzzle again. Like, things are changing. Obviously, like, I've got different views of myself. People have got different views of me now that I've got a gold medal. So that changes quite a lot. So, yeah, we're obviously going to keep working on that, and I want to be the best in the world in slalom as well as the best in the world in kayak cross. So yeah, I think there's a few things kind of that we can target and figure out, but it's a lot of hard work probably definitely between now and LA, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think just being able to go paddling every day and work hard and keep trying to figure out the little technical things that are going to help me improve and keep that mindset ticking over and work on that. I think it's it's a privilege to be able to do it. So I'm really looking forward to the next 4 years. Like, I'll probably have a little bit more of a break now, and probably when November rolls around, I'll be ripping back into it. But yeah, I think probably when I said different beast, I just meant like, mentally, everything's going to be different. I'm 4 years older, 4 years more experienced. I've had a games behind me already, so I know a bit more about how to prepare and what worked, what didn't work, and we can kind of build on that, because experience is, it's priceless, and to be able to learn from our last campaign and be able to go into the next one with a different perspective is pretty cool and pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. And
what about the pressure now? Not just, I mean, from a competitive point of view, I suppose you've got a target on your back now because you're the gold medal guy, but also the public pressure as well.
Yeah, I mean,
does it like does it when you think about it too much, do you find it daunting, or they say pressure's a privilege, but also pressure can be overwhelming
a little bit. I think I guess it goes two ways. Like in New Zealand now, people sort of know our sport and what we do and who I am and what I do and that kind of thing. So, but on a world stage, like, our sport's still pretty like small, niche, and hidden. But so I don't know. I honestly haven't really thought too much about it. I think in general, like the New Zealand public and media and everyone is just is pretty stoked that they can just have someone who's good at a sport that I think people have been enjoying watching, and I suppose it's not like not like the All Blacks where it's like the national identity kind of rides on it, which is quite good for me because I don't know where that would sit me, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought too much about it, but we'll see. It might be, like I say, like it's always changing the picture, and might have to have a good few more sessions with the mental skills trainer, sports psych, and and picture what it's going to be like. But
whatever you're doing, just don't mess with it. Don't tamper with it. It's working.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like you can't just do the same thing and expect it's going to get the same result. So we're always just going to try to keep building. And if we make a plan and think it's gonna work and do that, and for some reason it doesn't work out, then you've got to be accepting that that's what you wanted to do and you trusted that plan, and the result will be what it will be. But man, I'm excited. It's really cool.
I can tell. No, I think part of the reason, I don't know, I'm speculating here, but I think part of the reason like New Zealand was so happy for you is, because you seemed like genuinely excited, and so humble as well, and so grateful for the community around you that we've talked about. So all these little factors, and
Yeah, I think as well, like kind of, I guess not many people knew about kayak cross, like a bit about slalom from Luca kind of being around, but man, kayak cross is such a good spectator sport, and like Mull said, like, make it the national sport because people love it. There's something Kiwi about like a bit of argy-bargy, head to head, and I don't know, there's like the excitement of someone just getting stuck into it. So yeah, I think hopefully we can kind of build off that and have a few events in New Zealand and get some good guys down here and show it to the public in real life, because it's pretty fun to watch as well.
Yeah, and like there's some sports you watch and you think, I could give that a crack.
Yeah,
which is like completely misguided, but you do think that. But like cycling, for example, most people think, I can ride a bike. I could. But your sport, I don't think anyone would watch that and think, I could probably be quite good at that. Like there's so much going on.
Yeah, there is a lot. I mean, it's it's probably something that you start when you're, well, for me, I started when I was young, and it just becomes like second nature. But definitely, like, even like in Auckland, we've got the Victor Whittle Whitewater Park in Manukau, and like, they have kayaking lessons there, and it actually is something that you can just give a go. You might not be able to slide off the ramp on your first attempt, on your first, lesson or whatever, but, eventually you will be able to, and you can. And there's a few other, there's clubs kind of all around the country, and it might be flat water kayaking or surf ski or canoe polo or anything like that, or whitewater for sure. But yeah, there's kind of ways, and then Ames Games has just been in Tauranga, and like they had heaps of kids up there, and it's kind of like the first entry into paddling, and so it's definitely something you can give a go, but like I say, you might not slide off the ramp for your first try.
might not be next to Finn in 2028.
We can send you off the ramp if you wanted to have a go, Tom.
I remember I was on whenever it was that Sarah Walker went to the games and won a silver medal for the BMX, I was on the radio at the time, and we did a thing afterwards where I joined her at her training, where the track where she trains at, and that ramp on BMX, it's terrifying. It's
so scary, yeah.
And you see Sarah Walker and the other BMXers, like when that gate goes down, they pedal to get extra speed.
Yeah.
I went down it with like the brakes on.
Yeah, and the wheels are tiny. You feel like you're just riding like a kid's bike, yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about today that you were hoping to touch upon?
I don't know, really.
No.
I remember one of my mates yesterday, I don't know, did you get some good questions on the...
Someone asked me I feel like this is an inside one from a friend, asked me to ask you about mowing the lawns.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head. Yeah. How long did it take to mow the lawns? Yeah, well, because obviously, so the Orchard Garden, which is the wedding and cafe function centre that my parents ran, it has a massive garden, which they built. That was kind of their passion. The garden, the weddings and stuff was sort of like just a thing to help that run. And they had they planted a big hedge maze. And so like Blake, who would have asked that question, he used to work for us, or for my parents, and he did a lot of lawn mowing. But basically I said to him, the best way to answer that question is when you finish, you start again.
Oh my God.
So it's like, it's just constant, like
it's never ending.
It's never ending, just because it's so much. And like dad being like just super busy would probably just pump it out in a couple of days or something, but anyone else mowing at a normal pace would start again as soon as they're done. But for some reason, I never understood it when I was a kid. There was always like a refusal to get a ride on, and so everything was just a push mower.
Well, was it lack of money, or they were reluctant to spend the
Potentially,
money? Potentially,
yeah. I think it probably was. I think, just they'd rather just walk or half run and mow the lawns rather than sit on a ride-on and do it. So it was, but it's an awesome little place that they built down there, and it was pretty emotional when they sold up. But at the same time, like I said earlier, seeing them retired now and not having to deal with the hospitality side of things is pretty cool. So but anything else, I don't know. I think probably all good on my side.
One fun one from me. Oh, actually, no, there's a couple.
Yeah, fire away.
If I forget, remind me to ask you about Sean Johnson. And what advice would you give someone who's just starting out in slalom canoeing and ideally wants to compete at a high level? Maybe someone that's like jumped on the bandwagon as a result of you winning gold.
I think probably just like keep sticking at it. I think there's a lot of resilience that I've kind of learnt and built, but also had to show quite a few times of like when you get knocked down and you come back up again, it's like all the time. There's struggles and challenges and all that kind of stuff. So probably that, but also if you're passionate about it, just like keep feeding that passion and get out there and do it. Sometimes it's, like we talked about earlier, like sometimes there's times where you're like, I just can't be fucked today, or like I'm tired or whatever. But if you're really passionate about it, and it kind of goes with anything, right? Like sport, academics, business, whatever. If you're passionate about it, really just lean into that passion, because it's never a chore in the long term if you're really passionate about it. So that's probably another thing, and like have as much fun as you can, because sport in general is so fun to do, and like that's why we do it, because it's fun. That's why sport was invented. And I don't actually know, I just made that up, but I'm assuming like people just started playing games. So it's just super fun, and but as opposed, I guess in terms of actual like, I don't know, advice, go and find a local club, and get into it through them, reach out, like anyone, just flick me a message. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Or we've got a website, Canoe Slalom New Zealand. It's our kind of national federation, and I think there's a list of clubs and stuff on there, and you can get into it. But any type of paddling, it's all good. It's all fun, and Auckland, it's like really accessible to go ocean ski paddling. So they've got a few clubs here, and they can go out in the harbour on flat day or super windy and surf waves and all sorts of stuff. So all of it's fun, and
I feel like with the crux of that answer and the key message, you're kind of channeling Sarge in a way. That's what he would say to a young person coming through, right?
Hopefully, yeah. So just love it. Like, whatever you do, just love it, because I mean, lots of people have said to me, like, you only get to try to be an athlete once. Like once you get a bit further along, then, I might not have had the ability or opportunity to do what I do now. So, if you're passionate about something, just make it happen and love it. And I think you probably make some sacrifices in the financial side, definitely. But at the same time, you're paying for something you love doing. So, it's not. Is it really a sacrifice?
Yeah. 100%. Great answer. Thank you for that. Now, Sean Johnson, so he does a podcast now.
Yeah.
What's the story? Someone told me to ask you this. So did he say he was going to give any Olympic athlete $1,000 or something?
Yeah.
What's the backstory?
I think what they were talking about is how, like countries like Azerbaijan or Qatar or whatever, they'll pay their Olympic athletes or Olympic medalists like
win bonuses,
huge sums of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, if they win or get a medal or whatever. But I guess that's like not many of their athletes actually go on to win. And I think they were talking about how New Zealand pays nothing. So like we don't really get a a lump sum win bonus. So I think that's kind of where it started, and he was like, nah, this is not on. Like, these guys are awesome at what they do, and they kind of, they're inspiring a nation and stuff. And he said, all right, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and give any of our individual gold medalists $1,000. I think he said individual because the Sevens girls had just won, and he's like, I don't want to splash out $1,000 to everyone in the team.
Oh, you know, we have a WhatsApp group chat as well, so everyone will be lining up, even the reserves.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of chat that went on there, but and then I think it was 2 days later that I won, and then people were commenting on my Instagram posts or the New Zealand team Instagram posts, tagging him and being like, pay this man his money and all this stuff, and I was kind of like, what's going on here? And then I finally clicked, and I don't know where I found it. It just popped up on Instagram or whatever, of him talking about it. And then so I commented just an emoji with the eyes looking sideways, and then it was like, oh, the butch has come to collect all this stuff. And then on the next week, I think, he was like, oh, I'd love to have you in studio if you to collect, you got to come in studio and come and see us. And so when I came back after the games, I went in and saw those guys and went on their podcast, and it was pretty cool to see someone like Sean Johnson, it's cool, someone like you as well, being super happy to have me in and talk to me. And when I walked in, Sean Johnson was facing the other way, and he turned around, he's just genuinely really, really excited to see me. And I think I was their first guest on their podcast, and so he was just fizzing. And I think, I don't know if anyone else who won has been on with them to collect their cash, but
maybe he's closed the offer.
Yeah, he might have shut it down.
Individuals only, offer expires October 1.
Yeah, but those guys are awesome, and it was really cool to meet them. And I think it was just before his last game with the Warriors. So
you hear he's making a comeback with the Kiwis.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
incredible.
Back into it. It's pretty cool, eh? So. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. Oh man, he's a legend, and he's done big things for the game here, and he's just genuine nice guy, and Brooke as well. So that was really cool to meet those guys, and
even cooler to take his $1,000.
yeah, even cooler to get that, and it was I mean, so that $1,000 will be going to a charity. So my coach...
Is that your decision? Or?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I think, well, hopefully, like I sort of said, we're working through a lot of things at the moment, and, hopefully pick up a few sponsorships and stuff off the back of Paris. And, that $1,000, my coach works he works for canoe racing, Flatwater. And he was doing a big project on disability inclusion, so did quite a lot of work with the Halberg Foundation, who basically are in that space. So I was kind of pretty keen to put that money towards something where it can help get some people into sport that might not be able to do it otherwise without them. So I've been down to the lake, Lake Pupuki, with Aaron, my coach, when he's had a few people with disabilities kayaking, and man, it's pretty cool to see the joy on their face that it gives them. And if that can be a small help in that, then that's where it's going. So I'm pretty pleased to be able to give it to them for sure.
Shit, you love your work, don't you? You love what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm just lucky, to be able to do it, because it's just fun, and it's just, honestly, there's people that Aaron's taken paddling who, can only move from the neck down. Oh, can't move from the neck down, sorry. And, they only can move their arms with just some small muscles in their shoulders, basically. And he's taken them paddling, and it's just a sense of freedom, and I guess some sort of normality as well, and they just, just love it. And it's seeing that is pretty special. Yeah, hopefully we can share it with more people.
Well, I was going to finish the episode and do this as a separate thing, but since you brought up the charity angle, we'll just finish with this.
Yep.
So Generate, who now sponsor you and
Yep.
have been amazing sponsors of my podcast for over a year now, they've given me a sum of $20,000 to give to various charities in $500 increments.
Yep.
So I've got a few questions here about money.
Yep.
And if you answer these, $500 will go to
The
what charity?
Halberg Foundation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
for sure.
Jeez, I'll be stoked with you, eh? $1,000 from Sean.
Yeah, I imagine they need a lot more than
Yeah.
what I can give them, but if it goes into the pot and helps a little bit, then yeah, I'll be happy.
100%. Okay. Finn Butcher, best piece of advice you've been given about money?
Ooh, it's a really good question.
Don't take up kayaking.
Yeah, do not go kayaking.
try golf first.
Yeah. Well, that's go running instead. Maybe just get a pair of shoes. I was listening to Keep the Change the other day off the back of
Luke Kimmy's.
Yeah. You speaking to him. So probably something from him around investing and just start off with $1 and start learning about it and putting some towards the future, I think.
Yeah. Are you a spender or a saver?
Spender. Well, yeah. Kayaking, yeah, I'm a spender.
What's your worst money mistake?
Ooh.
There's got to be some, like sinking a lot of money on piss in Dunedin, taking up kayaking.
I think all the answers are just taking up kayaking. Yeah.
Have you ever had like a dumb car or anything? You've been a car guy?
I think I'm reasonably good with spending on ridiculous things because a lot of the money that I got was mum and dad's, and I saw the sacrifice that they gave to be able to give me that money, so wasn't ridiculously spending it. But I think probably my course-related costs in Dunedin are not related to the course in the end.
Nobody's ever are.
Yeah.
I suppose if you're taking money from your parents, you have to be like respectful about it, eh? Because
Yeah. Well, I guess that's how I approached it. So, it's probably not the worst money mistake, but yeah,
that's cool.
I'm not very good at answering that. Sorry.
Does money buy you happiness?
No, but it did allow me to go kayaking, which makes me happy. So maybe it does.
Yeah, I think there's a base level.
Yeah.
If anyone's lying awake at night stressing about money, that's not a fun position to be in.
Nah, for sure.
But you probably need a lot less than what you potentially think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. I think there's a level where if you can survive and do what you want to do, then you'll be happy. But there's a lot of other aspects that come into happiness that money can't solve. So maybe it can buy happiness, but it also can't keep it. So.
And it cannot buy one of these.
Yeah.
What would you do if you woke up tomorrow as a surprise billionaire?
I would pay off my parents' debts straight away.
What have they got? Have they still got a mortgage or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. So I'd do that. I would probably help out some more charities, and try to see people get into a bit more sport. And then I would. We talked about this the other day actually with Courtney. I'd build a whitewater course off the Clyde Dam in my hometown.
Sick.
Yeah, so I've got like a dream in my head of having a course off the side of the Clyde Dam that just runs all the time, and we don't have to pay for water because when you start paying for water, things get pretty expensive. So that would be.
What would that cost?
Just a rough stab in the dark, like probably 15 mil maybe. Depends on a few things, but
you should have asked Stephen Adams.
Yeah.
Like
hey man,
half a year's salary.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, if there's anyone out there that's listening to this podcast, I've got a business plan in my head. I've got someone already lined up to build the course. We're away.
The Finn
Just
Butcher,
need the cash.
The Finn Butcher Whitewater Centre.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably name it the Alan Hoffman Whitewater Centre, but Yeah.
Oh man, I got goosebumps. What a tribute that would be.
Yeah, would be cool.
Where would you like to retire?
Probably in Central Otago.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'll have to argue with Courtney on that, but yeah, I definitely want to be down south for sure.
Best thing about being a Kiwi?
I think our community,
Mm.
just being, I think the community that gets behind you is absolutely amazing. And I think a lot of other countries don't have that connection with the rest of the population. People don't know you, don't know your story, but they're like, man, this guy's doing cool things, like, we'll get behind him. I think that, and then, I think, it just gives us a different perspective being from this side of the world. Our country's pretty lucky to be kind of hidden away down here, and I think it probably brings a few negative things financially as well as positives, but man, we're from a pretty cool place in the world, so yeah.
Yeah, that community thing, it's been a big point in this podcast.
Yeah, it's
today,
a big rock for sure.
And it's really cool that you acknowledge that, because here you are, you're a high performance athlete, you're a gold medalist. It'd be easy for you to be so zoned in and have that such single-minded focus that you've got sort of blinders onto that.
Yeah.
And maybe acknowledge that later on once your career's over. But to be in your late 20s and a gold medalist and being able to see that and acknowledge it now, that's really cool, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I said it a lot, but it's the only reason that I'm here. So, yeah, it's pretty special to be able to acknowledge it on something like this. So, yeah.
Finn Butcher, mate, you're a great New Zealander. Thanks so much for coming here today. I'm finally, I'm glad we finally connected and made this happen. It's been really cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's I was pretty excited to come along, and I'm stoked to talk to you. So, cheers, mate.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have $1,000 for you later. Sean's podcast.
No, all good, no worries.